Welcome back to FlatsClass University here on YouTube. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about the Prawn Stars, but not about the pre-rigs. It's about the award-winning loose body Prawn Stars and how many ways you can rig it. I'm going to share with you my 5 favorite ways that I rig this lure, and I guarantee you all of them are going to change the way you think about throwing shrimp. Ready? Here we go. Okay, the first thing you're going to notice about the loose body style is there's no antennae. There's also a hook channel inside the bait so that it's easier to rig jig heads and whatnot in it. And it's got that flat head there where it fits nicely against jig heads. So it's easy to rig, and it's going to give you a lot of versatility. I'm about to show you. Number one thing you can do with it. If you love to sight fish, because that's one of my favorite things to do, throw into redfish, throw into laid up snook, even throw into bigger trout that I know are sitting in troughs, is I want a presentation that will not spook them. If you take this core tackle finesse tush rig, okay, it's basically a headless jig, and you slide it in that hook channel, you get a look that looks something like this, okay? Which is great. You got your exposed hook, you got no jig head here to make a big splash, and the weight is more centered back in here. So it's going to be able to travel and swim very naturally. I not only use this for sight fishing, but I use it for prospecting potholes and little cuts and bars and things like that, and it does a really good job. The only negative is the hook is exposed. Not really worried about that because I've got that covered too. The next way I love to rig this is under a popping cork, but we're not going to use the core jig. We need something to give this a real slow, natural fall when you pop that cork. So I made a little rig here so that you would have an example. And here I've got a 4 horseman, and I've got typically the way you rig a popping cork, okay? And you're like, wow, well, that's pretty cool, but that just looks like a regular hook, okay? It looks like a regular hook, but it's not. It's this product from Death Grip Jigs, okay? This company makes a lot of different styles, but what they really do, just like core, is they keep that lead along the hook shank so it goes further back in the bait. This one is only 1/32 of an ounce with the hook and the lead on it. So it's in that hook channel there, okay? And what it does is it allows this bait, when I pop it, it allows it to fall in this tail to kind of just undulate on the way down. So it just kind of swims on the way down. So you pop it with the cork, and then it swims perfectly level, rocks down. It is deadly on trout. It also works in marshy zones for redfish. It's really nice. And if you want to see how it's rigged, this is the Death Grip, okay? This is what it looks like, and I rig it on a straight knot there, okay? I'm not using anything that hinges. That way when I pull it, it's a straight pull, and then it just falls nice and level. It's really slick. And it goes right back in that hook channel. Look how easy this is. You just put it right in, pull it right out the back, and those ridges there keep it on this TPE. And this TPE is a harder durometer, like I said when we opened up. So this bait lasts hit after hit with trout with teeth. It's just amazing. And on a good popping cork, I'm telling you, the Death Grip rig really works. All right. Number 3. Number 3 is the Z-Man Pro Bullets. Now, I have this one rigged on a 4/0. Some might rig it on the 3/0 size. And these Pro Bullets are weight forward. So if you've got some current, like if you're working it down a creek mouth, if you're working it down a little water flow that might be coming down the beach or something like that, or under a dock, maybe through a little pass, any of those places where you've got a little bit of current and you need more control, more line tension, the Pro Bullets is an excellent way to fish. Or if you just need to bomb cast a flat, this works excellent. I'll show you why. You see how that line tie is incorporated in the head and it doesn't protrude up? A lot of inferior jigs or jigs that aren't really well thought out for grass have that sticking up. And all it does is catch grass. You don't have to worry about that with the Pro Bullets. It's taking care of that. And this bait swims perfectly on it. It's a high-grade mustad hook. And we've been catching trout like crazy on this setup in creek mouths here lately on the Nature Coast. So it's one of my favorite ways to fish that bait, especially with clients, because it's got a little bit of weight to it. Now they're throwing something that's over 1/4 of an ounce, 3/8, and they can make those long casts. Most of the Pro Bullets that I'm using are just 1/8 of an ounce. But by the time you incorporate the weight of the actual lure, you're probably looking at, to be serious, close to 3/8. So it gives you some superior casting distance, even if you're using casting gear. You don't have to use this just on spinning gear. Okay, let's talk about number 4, one of my favorites. You're gonna find yourself in those places where you have a little bit of depth or a little bit of flow, something that might be in that 4 to 8 foot depth, and you wanna throw something in that 1/4 to 3/8 jig head. You gotta have that feel. How do you get that feel? I get that feel with the Dirty Jigs. This is the Dirty Jigs tungsten, okay? And when I'm fishing docks or around, hard sand bottom, and I'm trying to pop shrimp through there when there's a shrimp run, this is excellent because the tungsten is nice and small and it's dense, okay? It's a nice dense look and it's got a nice wide head. Look at that head, nice and wide. So I get that touch when I'm fishing that deeper water. So if you're fishing flounder around deeper inlet docks or pass docks, if you're fishing around jetties, if you're fishing any place where flounder or redfish are in some flow and you gotta maintain bottom contact and you wanna feel every little bounce on the bottom where it doesn't get deadened with lead, these little tungsten Dirty Jigs, they're amazing. And they've really, really improved my fishing. So if you want to try something, especially if you're kind of vertically hopping it along the bottom, even if you're fishing a deeper hole for speckled trout, you get this on the bottom, you'll know when you're on bottom. You'll feel bottom, even if it's 10 or 12 feet deep. And all of a sudden, that little thump, you'll feel it through that tungsten, you'll feel it through that fluorocarbon, you'll feel it through that microbraid, and you'll be hooked up. All right, the last one is the one that I share with my guys over at FlatsClass University. And this is a really slick rig. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It's number 5. Okay, the last way I love rigging the loose body prawn star is with a 3 or a 4/0 extra wide gap hook, okay? I like a real thin wire hook. This one happens to be a BKK, but you could use Hayabusa, you could use Trocar, you could use a number of them, but I like it to be a thinner wire. I want good, easy hook penetration, and I'll tell you why. I also like to add a tungsten spikes. Now I use a 1/16 of an ounce tungsten spike in that hook channel. And here's what they look like again, okay? So I slide that tungsten into the bait so that it will sit right back here in the middle of this bait, which is going to be that nice natural fall again. And it makes this bait feel heavy and dense because that weight is right in the middle, perfectly weighted. Then the reason you're using that extra wide gap hook is so that you don't have to use the hook channel for your hook. You can just go in and come out the chin like that, push it up that little thin wire, and this is a harder bait so it stays on real good, and then either bury the hook in the middle of the bait back here or pop it out and let it rest barely on top and skin it. Now I've rigged one here because I've rigged about 5 of them because we're going to fish them tomorrow. And this is one of the colors that works really good here on the Nature Coast. It's more of a natural, almost a root beer gray. and it's got a little chartreuse tail. It pops perfectly. I can use it for sight fishing. I can use it for skipping. I'm going to use this like I've been using it all week, throwing it up in the creek mouths and letting it float down and just popping it. It doesn't get hung up on the bottom because we got a lot of sponges here. We got a lot of sea fans here. We got a lot of that lime rock that just grabs baits that have open hooks, but not this one. This one is going to work ideally. And it's just one of those styles that I share with everyone over at FlatsClassUniversity.com that gives them that extra edge for them to catch fish. And I've got a number of other ways that I love rigging the Prawn Stars loose body. Hey, this bait won an award for a reason. If you're looking for that extra edge, if you're looking for the ultimate shrimp lure, this is it. Nothing, I mean nothing compares. So, if you like what you've learned here today, you want to try some of these patterns or strategies that I use on a day-to-day basis as a professional guide, go out there and buy a Prawn Stars. Buy some of these pieces of terminal tackle that are built perfectly for this style of fishing, and you too are going to catch a lot more fish. All right, that's all I've got for you this evening. I'll see you back here, well, tomorrow with another great tip.